Welcome back to the Weekend Warrior Show Recap Podcast. I'm Ty from the Unemployed Architects. I've kind of procrastinated just a touch on recording podcasts. So this one I have 5 shows to talk about. So this would have started 2 weeks ago on St. Patrick's Day. So March 17th I played at Gig's Place in Fairbury. And then I played that Friday night at the Cellar in Pontiac, and then I played a little show at the Coffee House that Saturday, and then the following week I played, it'd be Friday at Buzzbomb Brewing in Springfield, and then Saturday it would have been in St. Louis for the first time at a place called Evangeline's Bistro and Music House. So quite the adventure, ultimately. I was kind of all over the place. First week was pretty, not too far drives or anything. The Thursday night at St. Patrick's Day was a little bit of a slow night. Nothing to really write home about. It was just like the people there are always really nice, and I usually enjoy talking to a few of the people that work there and the owner and everything, and I don't know, I guess we just, because when I suggested doing a show this week, I had the Saturday night open, which I ended up and still had, but the owner wasn't sure if, the other bar in town was doing something, or, I don't know, she just thought maybe it was a safer bet, I guess, ultimately, to do it, like, on actual St. Patrick's Day, but nobody seemed to come out, so it was a pretty slow night, ultimately. And, but I still had a good time. I just did what I could for the 7 people that were there, and hopefully they had a good time. And, I don't know. It was, it was a show. I got paid. It was good. Can't complain about anything too hard. Friday night was almost the exact same situation at the Cellar. Luckily, I had a few people come out. My mom and a couple of her friends came out, and another buddy of mine was there, and other than that, though, it was like pretty dead. And the excuse that night from the bar was, it was super packed last night on St. Patty's Day. Just wish I could have flip-flopped those shows, but it's kind of silly to think about that, because then I could have played Thursday at Pontiac on St. Patrick's Day, and then Friday it probably would have been busier at gigs, but you can never predict it. I don't know what we're talking 40 miles difference. I don't know why it was so contrasted, I guess, as far as the turnouts. And then the Saturday at the Coffee House ended up, and that was like the most fun show of all of them, which is not usually what I expect. I usually expect that one to be, just a little bit foggy and slow and okay at its max, but it was pretty cool. It sounded pretty good. I did the full setup that I normally do, and played pretty much for 3 hours straight. It was a pretty I just kept going. I noticed as she was walking up, Leah Marlene, who's on American Idol right now, she's actually she made it to Hollywood, and then she got the first round pass. She happened to be there that night, and she was coming to, as like a nice person would do, put a tip in the jar. And I was like, "Hey, aren't you Leah?" And she was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Oh, I just saw your American Idol thing. You did really good. Do you want to play a couple songs?" And then she did, and it was like really, really good. Wasn't mega packed or anything, but it was, I don't know. It was just, it was nice to hear it. Hear what the setup sounded like from a listener perspective, I guess. But her voice was just crazy good, and she's young, and she played guitar pretty proficiently, and she was playing her original songs, which I don't know. We'll see. I think that she'll go pretty far in that competition. I think she's very talented, but it was just kind of a nice change of pace, and I think that the people there were like kind of pleasantly surprised by that. And then I ended up and played, the rest of the time, and it was I was getting a lot of good feedback, and I made good tips. It was just like I was just very surprised that that was like the winner of the weekend for, you know, the how much fun and whatnot. But can never predict it, never know. But so then the next week would have been Friday at, or so this would have been last weekend at this point. Friday at Buzz Bomb Brewing. It was last time I played there and this time I played there. It was a little weird. It's like there was a couple that came at the beginning, luckily last time, or else I would have been playing to nobody. Because it's weird how it's set up. There's like a downstairs and there's an upstairs. The music is upstairs. The last time they had the bar open, but they probably didn't need the bar opened. And this time it was, I don't know, it was kind of busier downstairs and they didn't have the bar open upstairs. So I don't know. They just were shorthanded maybe, but and the same couple, which, you know, it's good to have people that are repeat and they enjoyed it the first time, so they're back the second time. So that was very cool of them to show up and show their support again. But I just felt bad because it was pretty much just them. They invited some people that had come a little bit later, but you know, ultimately it was a very very similar setup. And then, you know, as the night wore on, there was a couple more people here and there, but it really didn't pick up like that till maybe the last hour. And then it was like, okay, so then I ended and it got busy, like right after, not busy, but busier. And so I was like, oh, I should keep playing. But then I was like, well, I got to drive to St. Louis tomorrow. And, you know, I'll get into this, but the St. Louis show was noon. I just kind of wish that the Springfield show would have been, instead of 7 to 10, 8 to 11, because I think I would have had better luck with that. And I kind of felt the same last time, so I don't know. Maybe next time I play there I can ask them if we could do a later set or something. But I mean, it sounded good. I may have been too loud. It's kind of a small space, so it was hard for me to judge. I just know that the next day I played, I had the settings kind of the same in a much bigger place, and they were saying it was, you know, just like when I was sound checking, like, can you turn it down? It's a little too loud. And I ended up going like half volume from where I was, so I just wonder if maybe I was way too loud too at Springfield. But it's always hard to tell. I can never, you know, I think I know sometimes, and then I get corrected by my whatever the situation is. Like I'll think that I'll have it right, and then, you know, will be shown very clearly that I was maybe not doing it the right way. You know, my ego. Sometimes I'm a little foolhardy. Like I'll just think I know what I'm doing, and am wrong a lot of the time. So, you know, maybe I should be a lot quieter a lot of the times. I don't know. Anyway, so I wish I would have known somebody in Springfield too, because, you know, I would have saved an hour of sleep and driving if I would have, you know, been able to stay in Springfield for the night and then drive to St. Louis the next day. But what I did, I drove home, got home kind of late, slept for about 3 or 4 hours, and then got up at, what was it, 7 a.m. and then made the trip. So the St. Louis show, Evangeline's Bistro, that was 12 to noon. They do like a brunch kind of thing, and it was good. That was definitely the best show of the two that weekend. It, you know, after that initial sound check, I think it scared them maybe a little bit, but turned it down quite a bit. I'm not one to argue or be, you know, if someone wants me to be quieter. I know that in the morning it's hard to sing anyway, so if I'm a little quieter, maybe people won't hear my blunders quite as apparently. But yeah, I don't know. It started slow as far as my playing, but I did all my, you know, I don't play in St. Louis a lot, so I started with like my main. I did like a more traditional set for me, as far as like I do like these song groupings a lot of the time, where it's like I'll do 4 original, or I did 2 originals, then I did, you know, like 3 originals on Capo 3, or 3 covers on Capo 3, and then I do an original and a few more covers on the, you know, I have a kind of set way to kind of ease my way into it. I played the full 2 hours, and the crowd was very generous in a lot of ways with their attention and with their wallets as well. So it wasn't a huge paying gig. It was just kind of like an opportunity. I mean, I got a little bit, but it's like I mainly just wanted to get down there and hopefully get a little bit of footing in the area. So, and it was a daytime show, so it was kind of a nice, easy, like, way to, drive in, I guess, kind of get used to that. So it wasn't too wild. If it would have been night or, like, rush hour or something in a bigger city like St. Louis, that can be a little daunting. So, I was arriving in town around 10:30, 10:45. So, I mean, it was Saturday. So it was pretty laid back, pretty easy, and the bar was easy to get to. So I had a nice little stage, had some cool, they had their own PA, which I didn't end up using. I still using my JBL, and then I had like a piano up on the stage, and just a bunch of. It was a very New Orleans kind of vibe. Like that's what they were going for anyway. All the happy hour meal or all the brunch meals were kind of geared that way. I had a lot of like jambalaya and stuff like that. It was a good show. I mean, it's about as good as it could have gone with that situation, with driving for so long, and then getting to have to sing in the morning, which, are two of my things that I'm not super crazy about, but, it still went well, and I got more of that kind of thing coming up so we're coming up this last day of March today, so we got April coming up. I'm in Indianapolis a little bit later this month, so it's in kind of the other direction, and not quite as far of a drive, but it's a little spot there that I'm just happy to kind of have a place to get some footing. I think I have a couple in the Indianapolis area in the coming months, so I know I have two at that same spot, and it's Chili Water Brewing. But, so today I re-edited the Colorado podcast of our tour out to Colorado. I added some music to like background music, all the instrumentals of our tunes, and I'm hoping to at some point, I've been talking about doing this for years at this point, but I still have a lot of footage from the actual tour, so I've often wanted to compile that footage on top of the podcast so you'd have something to look at kind of while I was talking through it. But, I couldn't really do that until I had the audio edited a lot, because that was an early podcast. It was like my 29th episode, so lots of things I say that are, not great. But so, I got a chance to go through and edit some of the silly things I do out of that, and add that background music and make it a little bit more coherent. And I think at this point I will be able to maybe start going back through the footage and seeing if I can add it kind of, I was calling it a pod doc, like a podcast documentary, but I don't know. We'll see what happens. I got a lot of projects that I have not really followed through with, but I'm happy I at least got part of one done. I don't have to do that anymore, but I still need to add the footage, which is, pretty daunting task, because there's hours and hours of footage that I would need to go through and, edit to look good and sound good, and I don't know. We'll see what happens. I would like to, but I almost wonder if it's a moot point at this juncture. Like, is it really worth doing? Does anybody even care? I mean, it was like 3-4 years ago, something like that. So I don't know, but it'd be nice for me, I think, to get done, because it would go over like a home movie kind of thing, I guess. But anyway, we'll see what happens. I think that's about it. I just got a couple shows this weekend. April was a struggle to get filled, but boy, we just really squeaked it in here at the end. I had 3 dates that I just like could not for the life of me get booked. They were all Saturdays too. I booked the Fridays like early February, I think. I had all the Fridays booked, so I was like, oh, I'll be able to get these Saturdays. And then coming up on the last week of March, I still had all 3 of them open, so it's driving me nuts. Kept trying really hard, and then I threw a couple wild cards out there to some different places that I really was doubting was going to get back to me, and 2 of them got filled, and then I got a third one it's more of like a charity event, but I'm still happy to have it. I'm still happy to have all my dates filled. It was really, really driving me nuts because I have 2 dates in May left, 2 Fridays in May, and then I have 1 Friday in June, and that's it for those 2 months. So I've had those months like that for a long time, and so the fact that I couldn't get April finished before I got almost May and June finished was just like, it's killing me. And if it was June and it was the end of March, I wouldn't be worried at all. But it was April and it was the end of March, and I still didn't have 3 dates filled. So I went hard for a while, but it really just came down to finding or hitting some of the places that I had already played up before, because one of them had a thing fall through, needed somebody, which was the last minute. The second, which is this weekend, which I'll be at the 122 Club in Streeter, and then the next week was Door Fork Brewing, which they had changed their booking person, so I'd been kind of procrastinating on getting to them about getting something in the books, because I was thinking I was going to have to call, and calling's a whole thing, and I don't know. I was just like, I'll just keep chipping away at all the leads I have. But anyway, it all worked out. Happy that it did. But yeah, so that's pretty much all that's been going on. I started working, had a short conversation with a buddy of mine about recording, and he kind of inspired me to get moving on. So I just got a song written finally. I've been like not completing stuff and not getting anything good done for a very long time, writing wise. So I've had kind of block and just not enough time that I put towards it. So I finally finished it. Took about 1.5 years to get all the lyrics done. Really proud of the lyrics. Probably maybe some of the best I've done. But so the Ryan Wolf, who I'm talking about, he was talking about his recording process. So I was just like, I need to pull the trigger. So I started very, very slowly to start working on maybe getting some recording done, because I need to get more music out. But very daunting to even start. I mean, I'm doing an iPad style. I've decided, I think ultimately, that I had this vision for a TUA album, the Unemployed Architects album, for the last one, but it's just like I can't make myself finish it. And I think I'm using the excuse that, I gotta wait on everybody else, I gotta wait for money to get recording time. And I mean, the last 3 songs I wanted to get done aren't even true TUA. They're just songs I wrote that I was gonna have the guys play on. So it's like, so not only would I have to wait on them to the schedule to work, for me to have the money, but also for them to actually learn the songs, because they're not even songs that they've really played. So all those things combined just are making me feel like I just need to do my first TyJon Charlie solo album. And so I think I'm gonna really get moving on that. Hopefully have some stuff by the end of the year, like done to actually release. That would be great. But anyway, so that's kind of what's been going on. Yeah, I think that's it. As always, I appreciate anybody who takes the time to listen, and I will talk to you next time. All right, have a good one.